Welcome to MedAxiom HeartTalk, where thought leaders come together for one ultimate goal: to continually transform cardiovascular care for all. MedAxiom HeartTalk starts now.
On this MedAxiom HeartTalk, we are joined by HealthSnap CEO and founder Samson Magid, Patricia Dickson with Capital Cardiology Associates, and Jude Hebert with CV Logistics. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so I do want to ask first kind of how you all got involved with HealthSnap. So Jude or Patty, either one of you can take this question. But what were the key challenges or gaps in chronic disease management that led your organizations to explore remote patient monitoring and care management programs as a solution?
I think overall in a cardiology practice, all the patients that come in the door have a disease process that needs attention, like hypertension, AFib, congestive heart failure. And so when you look at that population and you look at the time that we're able to give to those patients, it's unobtainable. So what we do is we have these programs that we look for to monitor them, like not face to face. So this is the bridge between their visit and their next visit. We have eyes on them between that, like concierge medicine.
Yeah, and all the time. You just see everything, right? Jude, do you have anything to add to that?
I do. I think one of the things that is important here is as Patty mentioned about patient care. You know, all of our patients that walk through the door have problems. That's why they come and see their cardiologist. Our mission statement is to provide our patients with the highest quality cardiovascular care. And one of the ways we could do that is by reaching out to patients in the non-traditional sense, which is away from the office setting. This most certainly keeps them further engaged, and the more engaged they are, the more likelihood that you'll be able to help them significantly. And a lot of the data that we see is trending that way.
Yeah, and that's what patients want. They don't want to have to come in. You know, they like that to happen off-site.
Right. And how many times do you call your office with an issue and it's days before you hear back? It's peace of mind for those patients. Somebody is watching. Somebody is going to call me, and I don't have to wait or be concerned.
Right. Samson, let me get you to describe your program briefly, and then also talk about the virtual care management model.
Sure. Yeah, as Patty and Jude just both mentioned, the traditional healthcare model is reactive. Typically, it's episodic and usually delivered in a clinic. And when you're treating chronic conditions that happen over long periods of time, you need to flip that paradigm on its head and start delivering proactive, ongoing care in between visits. And that was really what we set out to do when we started the company in 2015. We have three components of our solution that work hand in hand. The first is a electronic health record integrated virtual care management platform, so that we're getting data from the patients directly into the providers without having to access different systems. We have different care plans and care pathways based on the chronic conditions that we're managing. And we have revenue cycle automation. So there's a billing component to all of this to support not only compliance, but a scalable program. The second is for remote patient monitoring of actually getting devices into patients' homes. So we have a device shipping and logistics component of the company. So all a patient needs to do is take the device out of the box and start using it. The third component, and Patty mentioned this, is our clinical services. A lot of healthcare practices and providers that we work with nationally, they have a rapidly, chronically aging population that's growing, but they don't have the staff to support that. And so HealthSnap offers full-time licensed clinical staff members that work under the supervision of the providers of our partners to allow them to scale these programs without having to add headcount. And our team is fully dedicated to the practices that we work with. And most importantly, they're fully integrated to the clinical workflows of the providers that we work with. And we'll obviously talk about that more. But when you have the technology platform that's integrated, a device shipping component and logistics that are very easy and turnkey, and then staffing all working hand in hand, you have a very robust and scalable program.
Yeah, no doubt. And the patient definitely benefits from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Jude or Patty, from your perspective, what's an organizational problem that HealthSnap was able to solve?
I would say organizationally, it most certainly helped us to understand, Patty brought this up earlier, but how controlling certain disease processes adds a significant quality component. As we begin to move into true value-based care, that's going to become more and more important and evident, because you're going to be you're going to be reimbursed based on how well you take care of people. So the more data you have and more collection of this data, and the more you move the needle in certain aspects in the world of prevention, the better off you are going to be in the future to get the dollars that you deserve.
Knowing that, oh, I'm short-staffed today in nurses and I don't have a lot of people, you know, we're not going to get to all of this workload. I have people behind me that are there for me, that are making sure our patients are receiving the best care.
That's very reassuring, no doubt. Yeah. How have patients responded to being able to get this care in their homes? Any surprising stories or feedback that you've gotten?
Patients are really optimistic about the program. With HealthSnap, they are assigned a care coordinator, and that becomes their care coordinator. It's literally the same care coordinator calling them, talking to them, and it's a conversation with the patients. And this is what I particularly love about it. They're calling the patient, and the patient is having this lovely conversation. How was your wedding? How is your cat? What's going on with your grandbaby? And all the while, the patient thinks this is just a normal conversation, but what that care coordinator is taking away from it is, they had a wedding to go to. They probably had too much salt today, or it looks like they had a rough night. Their grandkids were there. Did they take their medicine? And patients don't actually get that that's happening, but it's aiding in, you know, the care coordination.
You're building trust and credibility over long periods of time. And when you start doing that, patients do start sharing more about their healthcare needs and what's changed over time, especially when they're building those relationships. And so we're starting to kind of uncover the black box of what happens outside the office. And especially as a patient, we can all think about ourselves, right? When you go to your doctor, you want to show up with the A+ grades and show well. But you know, when you're building those relationships in the day-to-day, you start to understand what needs to happen clinically with those patients to get the best outcomes and experience.
I would also say that you also identify barriers that prevent patients from improving. When you're really looking at a 360 view of their care, you really can identify things that hinder their improvement.
Right, and then talk to them about ways to change
Correct.
those or address them before they become problems.
Right. It's continuous education to the patient, which is needed, so that patients take control of their own health care. And it's somebody reassuring them and confirming their successes along the way before they get to their office visit.
And frankly, I would say I don't really understand why more healthcare providers are not engaging their patients in these type of programs, because if you really look at the data, it to me, the data I've seen has overwhelmingly positive. The consumer is really embracing digital technology. I mean, look at the things that are going on today. It's amazing. Where is AI going to be in the next, couple of years? But in my opinion, this train has left the station, but not everybody's on it, if you will.
Samson, let's talk about the future. Where do you see the space in the next few years?
We have a really big imbalance right now in access to care and the amount of people with chronic conditions, and technology and solutions like HealthSnaps are really closing that gap and enabling healthcare provider organizations to engage with patients in a personalized way that's never been possible before. To both of your points, I think we'll demonstrate that this should be the standard of care and will be the standard of care based on the fact that we just have an imbalance in staffing, a rapidly chronically aging population, and federal policy driving adoption of this. And if providers don't get on board with it, their patients are going to go to organizations that do.
Yeah, no doubt, because none of that's changing.
Correct. Yeah, it's only accelerating right now.
No doubt. So maybe some final thoughts. What really stands out about this partnership that you all have with HealthSnap?
This has been an amazing partnership. I'm thankful for them every day. They have taken the time, the effort to understand Capital Cardiology, to work with us in every way possible through the good and the bad. And the patient outcomes are just significant in just a short time. And I can only imagine it getting better as time goes on.
We can't say enough about working with Capital Cardiology. You guys from day one have set the standard about what success looks like for programs like this. And when we look for the right partners, Capital Cardiology has demonstrated time and time from day one that they are really pushing the envelope about what patient-centered care should look like.
And the best is yet to come.
Yeah, amen. All right, Patty, Jude, thank you all for talking with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.